Finally, we have a case that is so sleek and stylish that you can fit it together nicely within your office as it looks like a modern piece of furniture. But this is not just style we are talking about here, this is Fractal NORTH case. And being a Fractal case, it should offer you performance as well. And that is why we are here today, guys, to check out what this case can do. Looking for affordable Windows or Office keys? Look no further, I got you covered. Head over to scdkey.com, pick your Windows edition, use my discount code LE25 to get a 25% on any Windows or Office products. Once you complete your order, after a few seconds you will receive your code. In Windows, go to Settings, there should be an Activate Windows prompt at the bottom. Click that, enter your code and wait for Windows to finish activation. To check the activation status, use the command prompt with the command slmgr.vbs/xpr and you should receive a notification that the machine is permanently activated. Once again, use code LE25 at scdkey.com. Enter Fractal Design, a case manufacturer that is one of the most liked and used cases here on the channel with this unusual approach in case design. Honestly, I was wondering who will be the first one to introduce wood as a part of the case design, and behold, our prayers have been answered. We have the NORTH here, a beautiful case that stands out simply with its elegant and stylish wooden front. I mean, you can't miss it, it is so unique. Front panel is easily removable and it reveals a fine breathable mesh filter which you can clean when needed, and it also reveals the use of two 140 fractal aspect fans in black color with no RGB. But apart from the front, the model I got here also has a mesh side panel, which in my honest opinion is a nice touch as it breaks the usual model of having a glass panel here. It is available with a glass panel as well, but I thought that this time it would be so much nicer to see something that is not RGB, has no flashy lights, just style and hopefully performance as well. So let's check out the interior and see what you can actually fit in this case. You can see that the front section is also divided with this column in the front. You can also remove it for easier access to the interior with just a twist of a thumb screw. This gives us a look at interior which is not the traditional black color. This is a gunmetal gray mixed in with black color. Actually, it's super cool color. The front part of the PSU shroud is cut and deep enough to accommodate radiators in push-pull config even. It is also perforated in the PSU area for easier cooling of the PSU itself. It's not that it's needed, this is more of an aesthetic thing. I think that you can mount a 120mm fan here perhaps, it's not in the manual but it kinda looks that it can fit here. In the area below the motherboard tray there are usual cutouts for the cables without rubber grommets, but on the sides there are larger openings for major cables and they do have rubber grommets. But if we look at the top of the motherboard tray, there seems to be only one cutout where the 8-pin EPS power cable is going through, and nothing on the right side of it, where usually is one opening for easier access and routing of PWM fan cables and also ARGB cables as well. You could run those cables through the large grommet holes as well, but come on, it's 2023 now, this hole here is in my eyes mandatory. I don't know why Fractal decided to ditch it. There is a large cutout for the easier CPU cooler access from the back, and you can also notice a bunch of zip tie points that are present here as well. More on this once we look behind the tray. In terms of fan positioning inside, 120 at the back with no pre-installed fan, two 140 or two 120 fans up top, and up to 240 radiator only as it will interfere with RAM sticks if 280mm rad is used. You can also mount an 80mm fan in the PCIe area, so you can give your GPU more of that fresh cool air. In the front you can mount two 140 or three 120 fans translated into radiator support 240, 280 and 360 rads. It also comes with two aspect PWM fans 140mm and rated up to 1700 RPM. But there is something else here. Since this is a mesh version of the case, you get this bracket. You can use it to side mount two 140 or two 120 fans, which can be positioned in three possible orientations, so it will blow fresh air from the side directly on your GPU, perhaps because it's the single component that generates the most heat anyway. It's a cool option since the side is mesh anyway, you won't see them, but you can rest assured that it will be extremely well ventilated. The CPU cooler clearance is 170mm, so you can mount monster air coolers here, while the GPU clearance is 355 with only fans in the front, no pun intended, and this is further shrunken down to 325 with an AIO in the front and even to 300mm if you decide to use the AIO in the push-pull config. Backside is pretty usual, but it has large slits for more air to escape at the back. As mentioned, 120mm fan support here only, no 140. The PSU is mounted from the back using the bracket, and it also has a removable dust filter here in the back. But check this little detail up top. This is a genuine leather tab which you can pull to take off the top mesh cover for mounting the fans and also maintenance later. Since we are at the top, check out how gorgeous is the I/O panel. It's this sleek minimal design with a large power button which is textured, actually it's a brushed aluminum look. We have headphone and mic jacks here, 2 USB 3.0 ports and 1 USB Type-C as well. It's all that you need from a modern case. Moving to the right side of the case, the panel is held by thumb screws. When removed, we can see that it has no sound damping material, but the thickness of the steel used here speaks about quality. Looking at the back side like this, you can see that the most of the front panel cables are already routed nicely with Velcro straps, and you can add more cables here as well. There are also plenty of zip tie points all over the case. You can mount 2 SSD drives on a tray as well, and actually there are 2 more drive caddies in the bottom, which can accommodate 2 3.5 drives and also 2.5 drives as well. Actually, one caddy can accept 2 of them at the same time, so 1 3.5 and 1 2.5, so this gives this case the ability to accept a total of 6 drives at once. Also, the caddies in the bottom are movable and removable in several locations. If you remove one from the bottom, you can see that there are pre-configured places where you can move them. And also one caddy can be mounted up top on the PSU shroud, from below I mean, like the Fractal Pop had this option as well. If both caddies are installed in the bottom, this gives this case 160mm of space for the PSU, which is not enough honestly. It's doable, but with cables pretty cramped up, so this is why you can move one up top and give it space for larger 220mm or even larger PSUs. There is also a PWM fan hub up top here, which can accept 4 PWM fans to be directly controlled via the motherboard, as there is no fan control button on the case. 4 headers are here, but you can of course daisy chain some fans, so you can control more of them if needed. The dimensions of the case are 447 by 215 by 469mm, which puts it in the medium size category. It is reasonably priced at $130 and it also comes in charcoal black color with a kind of golden accents, as this white one has silver accents like the power button and feet as well. Both of them are also available with a tempered glass panel as well, but in my opinion the mesh variants are somehow more pleasing to the eye. It breaks the plain, boring look of the glass panel somehow and gives it more style this way. So the combination of wooden front and mesh panel kind of makes this case more of a stylish piece of furniture. And this actually might be appealing to people that have those cool fancy setups and they don't want to break the style of it with a flashy RGB classic case. Alright, the RGB can be turned off obviously, but look at this thing, look how the colors match with my setup for example. This is what I am talking about. But I know you want to know how it performs, because we already established that it got the looks. Well, I used Noctua NHU 12A here, combined with 12900K and RTX 3080 Ti, which I know heats up a lot. So here are the noise normalized temperatures that I got while gaming, and it is also worth noting that when noise normalized tests are also done with and without side mounted fans, so we can see if they help or not. And also you can check the full load and noise in that mode as well. Cases with mesh side panels are a bit of controversial topic, and the mesh side might improve thermals, but there's also evidence that air coming in from the side can be in clash with the air coming from the front. So it's unclear whether the improved temperatures are narrowed down to the mesh side panel or simply better stock fans that this case come with. But the numbers are pretty much okay. Some curve settings in BIOS are needed to make this case noise normalized, as it can get pretty loud if this is neglected. But in the end, temperatures are great for such a case. Bottom line, this is a stunning case for sure. The wood in the front is treated with several coats of epoxy resin for protection. The price is more than okay, cooling options are mostly okay. I mean, it's not a big case, so don't expect miracles and putting a bunch of AIOs here, but the lack of that routing hole up top still puzzles me. There's no denying that the North is a case with a more narrow audience, and I think that PC builders should respect Fractal for launching a case that is so much different, I mean visually. I have a huge respect for them for doing so. This is also backed up with the performance, so I don't see anything wrong here. You can pretty much fit this case in your living room or in a fancy setup as well. So, this is all guys, see you in the next video.